Oh my gosh. This is so stupid fun. And again. That's the first two times I've lofted the wheel at those two spots. This bike's so stupid. I love it. Love it. Hi, and welcome to this episode of John's Motorcycle Rescue and Review. Today, I am with Kawasaki's 2009 Versys 650. And when this bike came out, it was a little bit misunderstood, I think. Kawasaki called it the Versys, meaning that it would be a versatile machine and you could really use this in a wide range of riding situations and it would perform well in all of those. At the time this bike debuted, I wasn't personally super excited about it. I saw it and I read the reviews and was really surprised. Pretty much everybody across the board said what a nice bike it was and fun and enjoyable. To me, it looked like a Ninja 650 with tall suspension on it. I really didn't think it was anything all that special until I rode one. I was so pleasantly surprised. I hadn't even made it out of the parking lot on my first ride and I thought, man, this is something special. This is fun. And the ergonomics, it's an easy bike to ride. You sit upright. I'm a taller guy, and so the bike fits me very well. It has nice leg room. For me, the Ninja 650 it's very short on leg room for me personally. And this bike fits me better than the Ninja 650. It also feels more compact, and honestly, I really, really like the way this bike handles. In the mid-size adventure bikes, including the Versys 650, the V-Strom 650, Honda's NC700X. This is by far the sharpest sporting tool of those bikes. So if you're gonna, just be looking to do some mainly on-road riding and really want something that is a capable sport bike in the corners, and this thing is fantastic. And to me, not only is it super capable in the corners, but the riding position is all day comfortable. This thing will do light duty touring all day long. You can go on multi-day trips and be comfortable. It's a great commuter bike, and it has some of the nice features. It has the parallel twin engine from the Ninja 650, so it makes decent horsepower and decent torque down low. It also has dual disc brakes up front. It has sporting rubber on both sides, sport bike tire sizes, so it's easy to find tires for, and it's just an all-around fun machine. It has a very fun nature to it. It's not dominating, but it is a hoot to ride, especially on tighter back roads. It's a riot. This bike is also relatively fuel efficient. Power wise, it always has enough. It has enough to be exciting. It's never overwhelming, but it's just a really, really fun place to be. If I had to use one descriptive word to describe the Versys, I would just say it's fun. It's fun to ride. This particular Versys I picked up. It's fresh off the trailer today, and it has aftermarket kind of hand guards here, and these really are more for keeping the wind off of your hands. It's also got aftermarket mirrors. I'm just looking it over. It's got newer tires on it. It has 6,000 miles and a nice service feature. It does have the spools on it, so I can just quickly put this up on a stand with the spools. So what we're going to do, we'll take this bike out on the road, and I will give you my first impressions here as I ride it. It's been a year or so since I've ridden one of these, but let's go. Let's take this thing for a ride. I'll let you know my impressions of it on the road, and then we'll come back and wrap this up. All right, let's ride. As far as instrumentation goes on the Kawasaki Versys, and this is an 09 model, it's a very legible, very easy to read readout in most lighting conditions. You have your speedometer, your fuel gauge, and your big tack here. I would say fairly comprehensive. The only thing I would like to see on there as well would be a gear indicator, but such is life. It doesn't have one.
I am currently riding Kawasaki's 2009 Versys 650. What I'm greeted with right away is a very straightforward layout. It's narrow between the knees. The tank cutouts aren't jabbing me in the knees, as do some smaller bikes. Seating position is very comfortable. Engine character here is, it's torquey. It's certainly not dominating. Right now, road conditions today are marginal. There is some moisture on the ground. It's been down below freezing overnight, and while it's above freezing right now, there's still some salt on the roads and gravel, and even a potential for some ice and some shady spots. So today I'm not really going to be pressing this too hard. So this is top gear right now at 60 miles an hour. I'm revving about 4,300 RPM, and it's really comfortable. I feel a little bit of vibration, but it's not bad at all, not fatiguing. Yeah, even in direct sunlight, which you can see the sun is directly on the instrument panel, it's very legible, very easy to read, which I like. The Kawasaki Versys is one of the few motorcycles that in aggressive riding I have been able to actually bring the front wheel off the ground simply under throttle and standing it up on a corner exit. That's usually the territory. I've only ever experienced that on big bore bikes that I'm more comfortable with. Part of that is, you know, on this Versys, it's got a fairly short wheelbase and you sit up on the bike. So it is if you're a wheelie guy, which I'm not really, but it'll oblige you. This one has optional hand guards on it, and I can tell it's blocking the wind a little bit, which is nice. I've got plenty of leg room on it, which is also a nice feature. The motor has nice grunt out of the corners, snappy. Gearing is nice. This thing picks up pretty quick, actually. Yeah, the motor picks up really nice. It's got a nice sound to it as you rev it up. The initial bite from the brakes, I suspect that they're running economy brake pads on it, so initial bite isn't fantastic. It's a little bit soft. However, it has really nice stopping power. Once you do get on the brakes, you can tell that dual disc setup is just really nice. I'm getting decent wind protection. Again, I'm about 60 miles an hour here, and you know, I'm getting a little bit of wind on my helmet, but really it keeps most of the wind off of my chest. The nice thing is that this windshield is actually adjustable, so I could actually move it one notch further down or one notch further up to give me a little bit better wind protection if I was doing a trip or something. The engine really smooths out above 3,000 RPM. I'll have to do a little bit more riding here to see kind of figure out its comfort zone. But I have a feeling if you are making corner exits at about 3,500 to 4,000 RPM, it's actually going to be a little bit happier. The transmission it's a little bit long throw. It's not super short throw and not super smooth. It's certainly not bad. It shifts easily. I've never missed a shift on a Versys, but it's just not the tightest package I've driven as far as like travel. And honestly, it kind of it almost smooths out if you're riding it a little bit more aggressively. Yeah, if you get on the throttle below about 3,000 RPM, what happens is you get a little bit of a weird vibration from the engine. So it definitely likes to be on a corner exit if you're going to get in the throttle, likes to be above 3,000 RPM. And at 70, it's even smoother than it is at 60. Almost no vibration through the bike, so it really smooths out around 5,000 RPM. There's very minimal vibration. I'm not necessarily a wheelie guy, but this is one of those bikes that I tend to lift the front wheel more riding a Versys than a lot of bikes. Another wheel hop there. And there. And just a little one there, so it is entertaining, and if I had a little bit more time on this, I'm sure it could be really, really fun. When it does come up, it's very controllable. The engine power isn't, like I say, it's not dominating. And so I've never lifted a wheel, period, on that little stretch right there. And this is one of those few bikes that I just feel comfortable, you know, just popping the front wheel up every now and then. I've ridden other bikes that are hooligan bikes, but this one just does it. I can really have a lot of fun and be a little bit of a hooligan, but it's at low speed. It's not really a super fast bike. Another little hop there. There's a lot of suspension travel on this bike, and that it's interesting because unlike an FZ09, it has a long travel suspension. This bike has that long travel suspension, but it's so much better controlled, and this is so much more precise in the corners. I never feel like it's a big, you know, dirt bike, or if it's going to do something that kind of scares me or surprises me. Yeah, and I think it should tell you just something about the confidence-inspiring nature of this bike. I haven't ridden one of these in over a year, and already I'm comfortable enough to be a little bit aggressive and on the throttle, even on scratchy roads. Gearing's really nice too. It really does feel peppy. Oh, another little wheel hop. Yeah, I'll tell you right now, it's really, really hard for me to contain the grin. That's fun. I think I would just be looking for places continually where I could just loft the front wheel on this thing. Just a little bit. It's not one that I'm not a stand-up wheelie guy at all. But man, this is fun. In this class, if you're comparing this bike to the V-Strom 650 or the NC700 or NC750, the difference between this bike and those bikes is this bike has an edginess to it, a playfulness to it. Those other bikes are fantastic, but this is kind of I'm reminded of why I like it as much as I do. It's just tremendously fun. I've not ridden another bike that's as confidence-inspiring as quickly as this one, especially when it comes to just popping that front wheel up a little bit in the air. And I don't know that that's a good thing necessarily, but man, it's fun. Yeah, but again, what I like about this is I'm not doing tremendously high speeds here. I'm just having fun at fairly pedestrian speeds. If I'm on a sport bike, you know, those don't even feel good. A hardcore sport bike, super sport, whatever you want to call it, they don't feel good unless you're doing 90 plus, and even then you don't have a sense of speed. And this bike is just really, really fun at lower speeds. And I guarantee on a back road, man, the tighter the back road, the more distance you're going to pull on anybody who's on a super sport, really. I honestly think this would have an advantage. Seating position as well. I'm not moving around a lot now because I'm not carrying a lot of corner speed, but it allows you to move around. I tend to move around a little bit on the seat when I'm cornering aggressively, and this bike has plenty of room. Again, it's not cramped, so I've got the leverage that I want, and I've got the ability to move around easily. So even when I'm sport riding aggressively, it's not fatiguing. Every once in a while, there's a buzz from the fairing that I get at certain RPM, and that's just my ZRX 1200 and 1100 did that. I've been on other Versys, and they tend to do that. I mean, if you get really annoyed by something like that, it's an issue, but it's something I don't even necessarily think about. I'm just aware of it every now and then. It certainly doesn't do it all the time. And this is not an overly vibey motorcycle.
All right, I don't know if you can tell by the smile on my face, but that is a fun ride. This machine is just, it kind of begs you to go fast. Not so much in a straight line, but it really does love the corners. And again, if you're just touring, if you're getting out and just, you know, running a couple 100 miles, it's such a willing partner in that, and just so willing and so capable across the board. It really does earn its name. It truly is a versatile motorcycle, and just a really, really fun place to be. As I said earlier, it is the most sporting of the mid-size adventure bikes. I do have an NC700X currently in the garage, and I may just do a really nice little back-to-back comparison between the NC700X and this Versys. You know, if you do like carving corners more so than riding fire trails, or more so even, you know, in the trio of adventure bikes from Suzuki, Kawasaki, and Honda, we have, you know, bikes that are, this is the best sport bike of the mid-sized adventure bikes. The Honda is probably the best commuter, and the Suzuki is the best dual sport. So it really, with that in mind, you can kind of pick one of those according to the way you want to ride. So I hope this review helps. I hope you found it entertaining and informative. And until next time, ride safe.